In this video, we'll cover the basics of viewing layers and masks in Photoshop, which is essential to understanding the blending process and working efficiently. Let's take this layered example here, which is among your downloadable files. And if we wanted to view these layers separately, notice we have multiple layers with multiple masks. Things can get very confusing. If we want to just view one part of it at a time, you can do that. For example, if we want to view this bottom layer, we can turn off the visibility of the upper layers to see it. The process of turning on individual layers can get a little bit tedious though. You could click and drag. If I just click once and drag down, I'm changing all these layers at once. So that's one way to do things. However, a lot of times your image may have layers like this that are hidden and you want them to remain hidden. A more efficient way to do this is just simply alt click on the eyeball and it will hide everything temporarily. And then when you alt click again, it will show everything as it was. So when I alt click, it hides all other layers. The group has to remain on here because this layer is in the group and it would become invisible if it were turned off. But alt-clicking this layer will restore the previous state. Now, of course, I can't do it now because I made another visibility change. But if I do it right away, then I can toggle back and forth, which makes it very easy to quickly view the layer and go back. If we wanted to view this next layer, we could do the same thing. However, notice there's this hole in the image because we have a layer mask on it. We need to temporarily disable this layer mask. To do that, you can hold down the Shift key and click on the layer, which puts a red X through it, making it temporarily disabled, which is the same as deleting this layer mask or having a white layer mask. Now, if you don't remember that Shift click gives you that ability to toggle the mask, you can alternatively just go up to Basics, the Lumenzia Basics panel, and click on the red X to toggle back and forth, and it will do the same thing. If we want to view this layer in isolation, you would just Alt-click on the eyeball, then Shift click on the layer mask, and now we're seeing this layer. Also, make sure you have 100% opacity and fill. If you've toggled the opacity less than 100%, especially on things like adjustment layers, then you wouldn't be seeing the true image. If this opacity is lower, you'd get something like this. So if you start to see things from below or checkerboards, bring it up. A good practice when you're viewing something in isolation is make sure there's nothing visible above or below. Obviously from above it can obscure the image, but below can also be an issue if you have anything less than 100% opacity. Now let's say instead you wanted to view this layer mask. If we want to view the mask itself, you can alt click on the mask and it shows it full screen. You can paint right on the mask if you want and then go back to the image, and of course you'll see your changes there. I'm going to undo that with Control Z or Command Z, but being able to alt click to view the mask is very helpful to understand where are your edges, where are there potential issues. We could take a look at this mask and immediately know, hey, the middle of this is not filled in. That could cause contrast issues. Or take a look at the top blend mask and see, okay, well in the final blend, that's not an issue. So very quick to review things by alt-clicking the mask. If you don't remember that shortcut, you can go to the Lumenzia Basics panel and click on Show Mask, which will toggle back and forth between those two views. Now, if you want to view both the mask and the blended image at the same time, let's say, for example, we wanted to make refinements to this water. Click on the layer mask you want to view, and then in Lumenzia, click Split. The Split option shows side by side the layer mask on the active layer, which is denoted by the brackets. These white brackets show you that this layer mask is what's actively selected. And now if we make changes to this image, for example, if I take a brush and begin painting on this layer mask, as soon as I let go of the mouse, the layered image is updated to show me these changes. So this is a very helpful way of being able to look at the mask and yet see the result of changing that mask at the same time. When you're done with this view, you can simply close either window and continue working. If you try and close all the windows, you'll be prompted to save your changes, so don't do that. If you ever need to bring this back up, we can click Split, and notice also that we can use, for example, Command plus or Control plus to zoom in. And then if you want to synchronize the two views, click on Split again, and the zoom level will be set to match the active window. We can also hold down the space bar to scroll around the image. They will at all times be synced together. So the only time you need to click Split is when you want to create the split or when you want to synchronize the zoom between the two views.